Hey, here we go with gesture drawing again. This time I'm going to do two steps. The first step of the gesture drawing is going to be just like when you did in exercise 4. But in exercise 5 we're going to do the first step, and then we're going to follow it up with a little more detail. So I'm going to do two drawings on this thing, and so I'm going to separate this for a second. So remember, the first step is just to do a real kind of rough sketch of the shape. So now here we have the tank, and I'll just put this rectangle on here, get the barrel in, and I'm going to have about, just like last time, it's going to give me about 30 seconds or something to render this tank. And so I'm just going to, work on that real quick and get these basic details and sketchy kind of surfaces and things in here. You can see this is pretty easy. I mean, a tank is a pretty easy thing to draw, given that it's almost always just a rectangle. And then there's some little details and things, and you want to just basically create some basic shapes to show the shapes of what's going on. Okay, now after we do that, we want to take this gesture drawing thing to another level. So now I'm going to take a different color. And when you do this, you're going to use two colors of pencil, so maybe red and orange or something, but it has to be two colors. And the first color, you've got to create this piece out of it. The next piece, you're going to go through and do gesture drawings again, but you're going to just look in more detail at the different pieces and render smaller chunks of what you see here, and then you can focus a little bit and start to kind of get, especially with a drawing like this, you can begin to get quickly into the nature of the contours, because these objects are pretty much contours. So I'll put these grills in with a little bit of texture, kind of fill it in with some texture. You can see how this is not exactly in the right place, so I can just draw right over it with the new color and put the new thing in there like that. And then I can spend a couple minutes on this instead of just 30 seconds. So there's that, and I can do some detail here. And I can kind of try to do a little better job of approximating the actual shape of this sloped armor. And bring these pieces together to bring it in like that. I don't know how that worked right there. There we go. You can since you're drawing something you look at and see, you don't necessarily imagining this, although this works if you're just doing concept art too out of your brain. You can begin to just add more and more detail, and it turns out that we really only need about 2 steps of this kind of gesture drawing to really come up with what we need in order to transition into working on creating a more finalized kind of a version of this content for the computer. These colors might seem a little silly, but even in Game Maker we have a color correcting tool that will change these colors to whatever we want. So we could select the green and convert it to white, and then we could select this blue and convert it to black or gray or whatever. And then we have a base of an image that we can use and continue forward with in order to create an image for the actual game. When we shrink this down, it'll look really, really good. Okay, so now we're going to do the car, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to get my green marker back out, and I'm going to quickly render the main curves of the car like we did before. Just get the basic shape. It doesn't have to be correct, it just needs to be close. There's the windscreen, coming back like that. The headlights. Okay, that's pretty much all for the basic shapes. Now I'm going to change back over to the other pen. Now I got another minute here or so, and I can kind of get a little more meaningful or detailed about what I'm doing with some of these things. And oh, look, there's stuff inside that window. I didn't notice that before. And you can do some other line detail. You could even add things that aren't there if you want, if you think it'll add to your design. Put that together. Look at that sideline. I don't know. It's tricky to get the symmetry on these. So in real life, you probably would rough sketch one of these and then do a real fine sketch of just one half and then use Photoshop to go through and create the exact mirror image of the other half, and then it would be really crisp, kind of perfectly lined up and everything. So, oh, there's the fuel cap right there. Nice. Okay, and we'll come in here. Some stuff on the dash. It's a long dashboard underneath that window. Through. Kind of finish these out a little bit. Use my wide line here to make some big lines again. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so this is just not an opportunity to still use the gesture or the sketch style of drawing, but to bring it into a little more detail, make a little more complete looking image. And there you go.